Alright, here's the practice midterm. Plan A costs $12 plus it's 20 cents per ride. Per ride is your rate of change, so that's your slope. So there's your first equation. And it's 4 plus 0.7 per ride. So there's your slope and there's your y-intercept. I want to find out when they're the same. Same means equal, so I put them equal to each other and I solved 16 rides. The cost will be $15.20. I plugged in my 16 into one of the equations to find my cost. To graph it, I want to graph it and make sure my point of intersection is somewhere in the middle. So I went by ones here because I knew 16 is where it's going to run into it, and 15 is going to run into it right here. To graph it, I could use my slope and my y-intercept. 0.7 is pretty hard for a slope. I know the y-intercept is 0.4, put a dot. I know it goes through the point 16, 15.2, put a dot, draw my line. I know 0.12 and 16, 5.2, draw my line. So there's my two graphs. That's plan A, that's plan B. Then it asks me, under what condition would plan A be cheaper to use than plan B? Well, it's lower here on the graph, so that's cheaper. So after 16 rides, plan A would be cheaper. What would the cost be for plan A? So I use the equation from plan A. If you rode 10 rides, rides is my x. Plug in my x, find my y, and that's my $14. So it also says, label this point on my graph. So I went up here at 10, 14, put a dot. Make sure you use the algebra to get the points. I want to see the algebra. I expect you to be able to read a graph, but I want you to check it. I read your algebra by reading the graph. What is the most? Well, you got to look at both plans and decide which one's the most. Well, $13 is right about here. If I go across, I go, oh, that's only about 5 rides. This plan's going to give me, it looks like around 13, 12, something like that. So I plug in 13 for my money, and then I solve for the number of rides. 12.8 rides. I can't ride 0.8 of a ride. And I don't have enough money to get to 13, so I have to end up with just 12 rides. Flipping the page over, I know it's a parabola because it has an x squared in it. So I make myself a table and I start plotting points. I plugged in 1, 1, 1 in for the x's and find my y. 1 squared is 1, plus 2 times 1 is 2, minus 6. 3 minus 6 is negative 3. That's how I got my negative 3. And I just plotted all my points until I saw my parabola. So now I'm just solving each equation here. Combine like terms. Get all my x's on one side. Get all the constants on the other side. Divide and I'm happy. Distribute. Don't forget the negative minus a negative is a positive. That's where people make their mistakes. Combine like terms. That's where they make their mistakes. Don't forget to distribute. Combine like terms. This is a negative x squared, and there's a negative x squared on that side. So when I add x squared to both sides, they disappear. I get all my x's on one side, all my constants on the other. Divide by negative 4, I get 0. But on this one, my x's eliminate, and I'm left with something that's not equal. So that means no solution. On this one, my x's cancel out, and I'm left with negative 1 is equal to negative 1. Well, that's true, so that means any number will work. And this one, I'm left with something that's the same on each side, except for this one's negative and that one's positive, so 5 is not equal to negative 5, so that means no solution. My x is canceled out. first thing I did is put it in y form. So I subtracted 5x from both sides, divided by negative 3. That's how I get the negative 1/3. And the negative 3, my y-intercept is at 0, negative 3. And my slope is negative 1. Go down, or negative 1 over 3. Go down 1 over 3, down 1 over 3, down 1 over 3. You can use a guess and check table on this, but we've been doing equations, so I'm going to do an equation. My cost single tickets are my x, C is my couples tickets. 50 more couples tickets than single tickets. So the couples are the bigger one, so I had to add 50 to my singles to make them the same amount. Then the other equation, singles cost $10, so that's 10x, 10 for every singles ticket, plus 15 for every couples ticket, and money plus money always equals money. So then I just substituted this in for the C, plugged it in here, solved the equation, and how many of each kind of ticket was sold? Well, there's 321 student tickets, and I just plugged that back into here to get my couples tickets, which is 50 more. Find the perimeter. Well, that's just the distance all the way around. Hard part is looking at this and saying, hey, this is 5 right here. How did I know that? Well, the whole thing's 11. This little part was 6. So 6 and 5 is 11. This part is 4. This part is 5. And the whole thing, all 3 of those pieces have to add up to be 14. So this one must be 5. So perimeter is just the distance all the way around. Add up that distance all the way around. Find the shaded area. 4 times 11, base times height, gives me this area. So that's this area. 6 times 10. How did I know that was 10? Because this part is 4. The whole thing is 14. So 4 and 10 equals 14. 6 times 10 gives me 60. And then I'm going to add in this little area for these two guys, which would be the same as this area right here, which is 5 times 10 divided by 2, which is 25. That's the area of a triangle. Base times height divided by 2. Add all those together, 129 square units.